Surprise! A new interview has just dropped called The Meghan Interview, exclusively from People Magazine. You did not come here for a long intro. I know you're ready to get in it, so let's get started. Thank you for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, I am so excited to read an interview exclusively from People Magazine that's aptly titled The Meghan Interview. Now, first of all, I already told y'all that Meghan is something special in order to just have one name, her first name, as her Instagram handle. But do you know how iconic you have to be for your interview to just be called The Meghan Interview and people fall all over themselves? Me, I'm People. You've got to be pretty damn iconic, and I am excited to read this interview. Before we get into it, real quick, go ahead and hit subscribe, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and like it, and go ahead and share so that more people can find us. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into the interview. Once again, this interview dropped today exclusively from People Magazine, and this article is titled Meghan Markle's Most Intimate Interview in Years, Harry, the Kids, and Getting Real About Her Learning Curve. Once again, it's an exclusive and it's written by Aaron Hill. Quote, there are tons of twists and turns. The Duchess of Sussex tells People of her journey. Meghan Markle is curled up in bed with her sleeping 5-year-old son, Prince Archie, on a recent winter evening in Montecito, California. With her phone in hand, she catches up on emails, finalizing details for the launch of her renamed lifestyle brand As Ever and her new Netflix series With Love, Meghan. Her husband, Prince Harry, ever heard of him, is still in Vancouver wrapping up the Invictus Games. Meghan had joined him for several days, during which she stayed in close touch with her mother, Doria, checking in on Archie and Princess Lilibet, who had both gotten sick, and making sure they were seen by the doctor and sipping bone broth. Now she's savoring this stillness at home with Archie as he stirs awake, sleepily telling her, quote, Mama, don't work too hard. Oh, he's so considerate. Recalling the moment to People a few days later, the Duchess of Sussex says, quote, it was the sweetest thing. Like any entrepreneur, Meghan has tackled the hard work of launching a new business, but unlike most, she has done so under an intense spotlight. I'll say. In March 2024, her initial brand name, American Riviera Orchard, debuted online. 1 month later, jars of jam with the brand's logo began circulating among pals like Chrissy Teigen and Mindy Kaling. Then came a pause. As anticipation grew, questions arose about when the products would be available, while behind the scenes, she navigated trademark issues. Quote, there are tons of twists and turns, even with the name, she says in her most intimate interview in years. I was figuring it out in real time. And although she has faced intense public scrutiny at every step, unwarranted by the way, Meghan says the experience has been defined by growth. Quote, I appreciate everyone who gave me the grace to make mistakes and figure it out, and also to be forgiving with myself through that. It's a learning curve, she says. Wow, that's a word. As Meghan builds her brand, she also continues to expand her life in Montecito. 5 years have passed since she and Harry made the seismic decision to step back from their royal roles in the UK and chart their own path, but their titles remain. Go ahead and make note of that, haters. Meghan says the Sussex name, bestowed upon her and Harry by Queen Elizabeth on their 2018 wedding day, holds a deeper significance than she could have imagined before motherhood. Quote, it's our shared name as a family, and I guess I hadn't recognized how meaningful that would be to me until we had children, she says. I love that is something that Archie, Lily, H, and I all have together. It means a lot to me. Oh. The Sussex name, she adds, is part of our love story. Now with her new series debuting March 4th on Netflix, that's tomorrow, y'all, she is sharing her personal passions, including cooking, hostessing, and decorating with her biggest audience yet. Quote, when your children get to a certain age, when you're not just playing in the sandbox with them, but almost playing in your own sandbox again, it's super joyful, she says. As a woman, a mom, and a wife, to be able to find yourself again in a way that was always present, but that you maybe couldn't put as much attention on as you now can when your kids are a little bit older, it's a wonderful feeling. Oh. And there's more of that to come. Although the couple's 2022 Netflix docuseries, The Record-Breaking Harry and Meghan, famously pulled back the curtain on their struggles within the royal family, this time there's no mention of anything royal. Harry himself makes only a fleeting appearance in the final episode, but his presence was felt behind the scenes. Quote, whenever Harry visited set, he was always super polite and friendly, a crew member tells People. But it was clear he wanted this to be Meghan's moment to shine. Oh, they are such a supportive couple to each other. That's why they work. They genuinely care about each other. It's not about me, or this is our thing and blah, blah, blah. Even though they do a lot together, I love that they genuinely root for each other. I feel like that's necessary in order to have a very fruitful marriage or relationship or any kind of partnership. You genuinely have to root for each other and wish the best for each other. Sometimes people can get to the point where they compete with their partner, and that does not work, Ike and Tina. That doesn't work. You have to support your partner, and that is why these two always thrive. It takes me back to that iconic photo of Harry practicing his speech and Meghan being the only one in the crowd, because obviously this was before the event started. And he was running through his speech, but it's such a significant photo as she just stands there or sits there watching him as he stands there delivering his speech. And she just has so much admiration in her eyes. It's such a beautiful photo. And I feel like it's very significant, especially in moments like this. Returning to her roots, Meghan's 8-episode lifestyle show sees her cooking, crafting, and gardening with friends and chefs while sharing personal stories and recipes. Ooh, I didn't realize we were going to be getting like personal stories. That's exciting. A natural extension of her pre-royal life. In 2014, while filming Suits in Toronto, she launched The Tig, a blog on food, travel, and wellness, years ahead of the influencer boom. Yep. But as her relationship with Harry deepened, she shut it down in 2017 and later deleted her Instagram before joining royal life. How hard was it to let go? Quote, well, I loved The Tig, but I certainly love my husband more, she says. So that was a choice I made at the time, and I wouldn't change that for a second. I know that's right. Don't live in regret, girl. And look how it all worked out, so you're good. Harry is now loving watching Meghan step back into her creative groove. My husband met me when I had The Tig, and I see this spark in his eye when he sees me doing the thing that I was doing when he first met me, she says. That's necessary. You have to stay connected to yourself. I love that she's reconnecting on a lot of levels. Even though the activities on her new show feel familiar to Meghan's longtime followers, the filming pushed her beyond the comfort zone she knew from her 7 seasons on Suits. Quote, I was never really in front of the camera like this, she says, reflecting on the legal drama, which became one of Netflix's most streamed shows in 2023. She adds, it's a time capsule for me. I still have the pencil skirt from the first episode. That's the one thing I kept. She remains close to co-stars like Abigail Spencer and is excited to see the upcoming Suits LA on Peacock. I love that it gets a new breath of fresh air. Wow. Talk about pressure though. Think about the new cast and they're having to go ahead and pick up where the other Suits left off. Not necessarily. It's not a continuation. It's a different story in the same universe. But if I were one of the actors on the show, knowing Meghan was actually watching me, the pressure's on, but I'm 100% sure they'll deliver. That's a great cast. Her new show isn't a traditional stand and stir format, an industry term Meghan learned during filming to describe most cooking shows. It feels as though we're just spending time together, which is what it ended up being, she says of the crew's presence on the series. I'd make a recipe and say, everyone try this, and there are certain dishes where you just watch everyone flock in. I'd say, we've run out of spoons. It ended up feeling so communal, and that's the spirit of the show. Wow. Adds director Michael Steed, who previously worked on the Emmy-winning series Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown. Oh, wow. Quote, everyone has this one version of her, but she's just someone who is hustling and working and doing. I genuinely wanted to create an environment where she could relax, and I know the pressures of what she deals with on a daily basis. I was happy that we created scenes where she could tap into that part of her life. Wow. Sounds like Meghan was surrounded by a lot of considerate people. Along with featuring her domestic skills, With Love Meghan also highlights her own product line, which will be available on asever.com. Meghan has hinted that her signature jam will be among the offerings, set to launch this spring. Also launching this spring, her new podcast with Limonada Media. She's back on Instagram too, for the first time in years. Quote, when I was last on social media, boomerang was the thing, she says, laughing. Instagram stories didn't even exist, so it's been a minute. Wow. Also, Don't miss this. We're getting a lot of good information, but don't miss this. Her new podcast with Limonada Media. That's coming this spring as well. Y'all, we're going to be talking a lot. We have a lot to take in. Meghan is really delivering the deliverables. Thank you, Meghan. Wow. I mean, it's already one thing for us to get any content, but to get this much and for her to put so much of herself into it, wow. I'm really, really impressed. And I'm just excited about all of this that's coming out. I can't wait to see the rollout as well. I'm pretty sure all of these things will be interconnected. That's probably why they're all coming out around the same time, which is genius. But I'm excited to see how it rolls out. Y'all know I love a good marketing rollout. I like to experience the energy that the creator or that the front person wants us to experience. Despite the intense focus on her return to Instagram, where her 2 million followers analyze everything from her outfits to the plates she uses, Meghan doesn't identify as an influencer. Quote, I see myself as an entrepreneur and a female founder, she says. And if the brand ends up influential, then that's great. I know that's right. No, she isn't an influencer. She is influential. I feel like we have kind of whittled down some of these terms, especially in light of like careers, new careers in social media. That wasn't really a thing like 20 years ago. A social media career was like not a thing. And so influencer is a very specific thing. Meghan is right. She's influential, but she's not an influencer, if that makes sense. And although the show paints a picture of domestic bliss, with Meghan slow cooking berries from her garden, she doesn't consider herself a trad wife, shorthand for traditional wife either. No, she has a job, several. That's I don't even get why people make that comparison. Again, people whittle things down and they just put a blanket term on a million different things that are just remotely similar. And that is very strange that people do. Quote, I like being able to do a hybrid, she says. Chinese food delivery is a favorite, but even when I get takeout, I will try to plate it beautifully, she says Meghan. She encourages others to strive for balance, not perfection, despite her show's beautiful imagery. Quote, the series is about doing what you can do, she says, and doing it with love. Oh, I like that. That outlook was first noticed by a friend who visited the set and came up with the name of the show. Oh, wow. Quote, their takeaway was they were so happy to see me as myself, Meghan says. She said, it's like your love letter to all the things you'd love to do. And if you're signing off a love letter, it's with love, Meghan. It felt right, and I love that my friend helped me create it. Wow, I wonder who that was. I'm so curious. Receiving that kind of feedback from her friends who have quietly supported her through the challenges of recent years has been meaningful for Meghan. You have to imagine my friends' experience through the past few years, she says. They spend all this time with me at home and at their houses or out at dinners. For them to see who they know to be reflected on screen, it brought them a lot of joy. I bet. I can't imagine what we talk about what Meghan and Harry have gone through, of course, but something that I never really touch on, at least I don't touch on it enough, is what that must feel like for the people in proximity to them as well, who probably want to protect them and probably feel a lot of that same energy, but probably 10 times that we feel when we're, eager to defend them and set the record straight and provide clarity and really highlight who they actually are and kind of weed through the mess. I can imagine as someone who's just a fan of them and just likes to talk about the work that they do, I know how it makes me feel when I see attacks on them, but especially unwarranted attacks and intentional miscommunication and misrepresentation of them. That stuff really irritates me. But that's me and I don't even know them. I can't imagine being someone within their life who loves them and they love me and want to protect them. I can't imagine. That must feel really, really difficult. Think about the people in your life that you love most, and imagine the world attacking them needlessly in an unwarranted fashion and essentially just bullying them. That would feel very helpless, and also that would piss me off. So I'm really glad that her friends get to witness her, not only get to show herself in her authentic light, which is really what she's always done, but get to show more of herself. But also, I wonder what that's like for them to see the tide slowly shifting in the media. People are starting to be a lot more unbiased, which is a place that we always hope we would get to. But we're seeing people reflect Meghan more honestly these days and being willing to defend her more openly these days. And I'm pretty sure that's a weight off of her friends. I'm sure that's just a huge relief. Let's continue. Her private world in Montecito. The Montecito community, who have gotten to know her from school drop-offs and playdates with Archie and Lily, have become essential. Quote, we hosted a little camp because winter break was long, she says with a laugh. We had several days with different families at our home, and we were able to get to know the parents better, and all the kids could play. Meghan and Harry set up obstacle courses and face painting. Quote, it's a dream, she says, but I also know that being part of a community means you put effort into it. That is amazing. I cannot imagine what her neighbors must have felt. But also, the Montecito community is filled with very successful people, very famous people, celebrities, business owners, founders, etc. So they likely don't get starstruck anymore. But it's still a little bit different for it to be Harry and Meghan. I wonder what that was like to get that invitation. That is so cool. In the process, Meghan says Montecito has become protective of the Sussexes. Once you know us, I think you want us to have the same normalcy as parents and for our children as they do, despite however unique our situation is. For Meghan, normal looks like nights out with Harry and pals. We go to a lot of dinners, and not just in people's homes or private rooms. We just go into restaurants, she says. I really love that we can just have fun. I love that too, Meghan, but I also love that your community protects you. I absolutely love that. Let's continue. Her friendships with other moms have grown beyond school ties into deeper connections. I have a couple of girlfriends up here. These are stay-at-home moms and working women with normal jobs, not in the public eye, she explains. We went from just connecting through our kids to having girls' nights out or doing Pilates together. Oh, wow. One confidant recalls how they first connected when Archie and her daughter became fast friends at school. Meghan reached out with a voicemail inviting her to a play date. Wow. Quote, you can see that as a unit, the friend says of the Sussexes. They're all very connected. After her son's recent surgery, the friend recalls Meghan sent a bouquet of balloons and a stuffed octopus from Archie and Lily with a handwritten note that said, we thought you could use a hug with 8 arms. Oh, that's cute. Oh, I love that. And when Meghan was invited to her low-key birthday party at home, she showed up despite not knowing anyone else and chatted with the other women about mom stuff and life, says the pal. It was just fun and natural. She was very comfortable just chilling. Meghan embraces life in her community, whether solo or with friends. Quote, I go to yoga classes that sometimes have 40 to 50 people in them and just walk in like, hi, she says, laughing. Of course, at the beginning, that felt like a lot. By the way, I think anybody walking into a yoga class with 50 people and everyone looks up, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable. But now I love it. It's the best. I had missed it. Oh. The family's sprawling estate is their sanctuary, which is why Meghan chose to film her show in a nearby rental that echoes her own space. Quote, I wanted to protect that safe haven, she explains. We're a close-knit family, and I love those moments. Putting Lily down for a nap, having lunch together, having sacred time together at the end of the day. Our kitchen is where Mama just cooks for the family, and with a crew of 80 plus people, that's a lot of people to have in your house. Yes, and it poses somewhat of a risk, like for sickness and germs and things like that. That's a lot of people, especially when you have children. Small children, especially, having that many people probably with their shoes on, all up in your house. Yeah, I would have had them go somewhere else too. But also, people made much ado about nothing, as always, by kind of coming down on Meghan for filming her show at a different location than her home, which is utterly insane. The majority of anything filmed, even reality shows, are not done in people's houses. I think people have a really skewed view of what they expect of Meghan. They never expect the normal things. Like, for example, if that had been a precedent set by other celebrities, like, oh, we film everything in our house, I still wouldn't apply that to Meghan because, I mean, that's their business. Not everybody has to do it the same, but I would understand where some of that criticism derives from. But that's a very rare thing to film anything at your actual house, especially something like this. This isn't a reality show. It's a show where Meghan shows things that she loves. She didn't say, I'm going to give you a house tour. I think, you know what? I do think social media has skewed a lot of people's brains because I grew up in a time where there wasn't social media and I'm used to shows simply being shows. I think now with people saying like, everybody watch me unbox every single thing I've ever purchased. Hey guys, watch how I set up my closet. Hey guys, look what's in my fridge. I've seen people do pantry tours and house tours. And I'm sitting there like, girl, do you realize people are all up in your business? And so I think people have a skewed view of what to expect from not just Meghan, but celebrities in general. But there hasn't really been a big precedent set for celebrities with an actual show that's produced by a network or a streaming service or any kind of large platform where they would do that with a full crew in someone's home. That's quite insane. I don't care how big your house is. That's not a comfortable thing. And Meghan, as clearly someone who considers her family's well-being, her children's well-being, the sanctity of their privacy, and she recognizes how important it is to balance. I'll show you. That doesn't mean you have access to everything at will. I'm surprised that anybody even thought that they would film that at their house. I'm sure like here and there, scenes here and there, whatever. But I don't think anyone expected a full-on show at their house. So when those criticisms came out, I was really confused, especially when Harry and Meghan have set their own precedent, because they did the interviews for Harry and Meghan, the docuseries, in a completely different place as well. Because again, it requires a production crew. And of course, they have to protect their home and all of that. So we did get scenes of them, at home, but their actual interviews, the meat and potatoes of their docuseries, was in another location. So for people to be like, they should have filmed this at her house, I'm like, you guys are really insatiable. My goodness. Let me come to your house with my camera and just weed through your things. If you're willing to let me do that, then I'm willing to hear your criticism of Meghan not having this show filmed in her home. The show also gives Meghan a chance to put her kid-friendly meals to the test. I'm up before my kids are. So I'm normally up at 6:30, and then I get them up and dressed for the day, and we go downstairs, she says. I love making breakfast for my family. Quote, my husband and Archie both love fried eggs, she says. There's a lot of bacon around here, and then sometimes you don't have time for all that, and you just put a frozen waffle in the toaster and call it a day, and there's no shame in that either. I know that's right. Eggo is my friend. Quote, not surprisingly, Meghan identifies food as one of her love languages. Even before I was a mom, I loved being able to nurture in that way, she says. Some of my favorite childhood moments are the meals that my mom would make. She'd make a lot of soul food. I remember she'd taken a Thai cooking class, so every week we had Thai barbecue chicken and spring rolls. I remember those flavors so well, and I want my kids to have those same favorite memories of things that I cook. Wow. We call them mama meals, and those are the ones that I hope they come back to when they're older, when they're married and they have their own kids, and they can go, oh, let's have a mama meal. That is adorable. And it's the same roast chicken I've been making since they were little. And I'm sure it's the same roasted chicken that got you that ring. Building a legacy. While she may not have filmed inside their home, let it go. Let it go. Why would anybody expect her to film this in her home? People magazine's so bitter anyway, even though it wasn't at her house anyway. I need them to let the bitterness go, okay? While she may not have filmed inside their home, she found ways to incorporate home life into the show, filming in their chicken coop, garden, and orchard. Quote, Archie did the filming clapboard sweet moments, she says. They would also come with my husband and visit me on set, and I love that my children were able to watch me working and see the balance of that and understand what mama does and is working to create and share. It was really special because up until then, they hadn't seen me at work. Well, okay, I'm glad to hear that, Meghan, but apparently whatever Archie saw, he had to put you on a clock. Apparently what Archie saw was you was working too much, because now he's waking up from naps like, you need to go in and clock out. I know that's right, Archie. Create balance. The crew member recalls how Archie and Lily would run up to Meghan on set. Quote, she was super attentive and doting on them. We would give them headphones so they could listen to audio. Wow. Adds Meghan, I hope that when they get old enough, they feel really proud that they were part of the beginning of this with me. I know they will. The landing page of asever.com features a photo of Meghan and Lilibet hand in hand in their backyard, surrounded by trees. Having her daughter on the site was especially meaningful for Meghan. Quote, being able to have my own little girl, as I've spent so much of my life championing the rights of girls and women, and to be able to see this as a multi-generational story, Archie is of course included in that. My husband is of course included in that, but I love the heritage feeling of it and knowing this is something that I can create in front of my daughter and teach her what it's like to be a working mom, she says. This is something that hopefully can be part of her legacy too. Wow. I really, really, really love how Meghan not only gives us a peek inside of what's important to her and what she values, but I love how she puts that in action into everything she does. I think that's why these things resonate deeply with her. Her projects resonate deeply with her because they all have a meaning. They all have a message. They all have a real purpose. She and Harry as well, neither of them produce fluff content where it's like, let's just throw something on a screen, get this check. They put so much effort and intention into every single project. And I think that's why all of their projects connect with an audience, even when we're not familiar with the subject matter. Like Live to Lead covered a lot of people who were doing the work in social justice and social reform in different facets, in different areas. And all of them had a story that felt like we could connect to it, even if we couldn't personally relate. For example, Polo. We just recapped the entire series. I was into Polo. Y'all know I was loving me some Polo, and I am waiting on season 2. But I don't play Polo. I've never been to a polo match before. And the most polo I've ever been close to was Ralph Lauren. So I've never really been into polo. Getting a peek behind that, it was really interesting. Do you know how well you have to produce something or create something to make the subject matter interesting to people who've never been exposed to it? That takes a lot of work, but it takes a lot of intention and purpose and focus. And I'm glad that each project that they not only premiere, but every project that they work on, it's done so with a lot of intention, a lot of heart, and a lot of purpose. And that is why the audience sticks around, because we know we're going to get something that's worthwhile and something that's going to enhance our life or our awareness in some way. But most importantly, just flat out entertain us. That's always the end goal for me. Life in Montecito has settled into a comfortable rhythm for Meghan and Harry. When she's not filming, afternoons are marked by what they lovingly call day dates, where they share a quiet lunch together. In true parent fashion, the evenings include nightcap recaps, unwinding with a drink as they chat about their day and make lunch boxes. Wow. Quote, I think all parents in this phase with kids the same age know it's rinse and repeat, she says. If there's time, they'll catch up on TV together. We love Shrinking. We just finished Black Doves, and we're excited for the new season of The White Lotus, she says. Ooh, girl, me too. Reflecting on the past 5 years since their move, Meghan acknowledges how much is different. 5 years ago, Archie was only 8 or 9 months old. So my life has changed so much, she says, recounting her motherhood journey, welcoming a newborn, being pregnant while raising a toddler, and now raising both Archie and Lily. Anyone who has children will tell you it's a huge evolution as a woman during that time. As she looks ahead to the next 5 or even 10 years, she's open to what's to come. Can you imagine? This is just the beginning. Life is full of surprises, she says. And my gosh, in 10 years, Archie will be driving. Wow. I mean, yes, but wow. And 10 years goes fast. I feel like time speeds up the older you get. Time really does speed up. This was an incredible interview. First of all, the subject matter is interesting. I'm excited to hear more about With Love. I'm excited to hear more about the upcoming projects and the products and everything like that. But I love hearing about Harry and Meghan's home life with the babies. That's such an interesting topic because every time they grant an interview, they're at a different phase of life. Things have progressed in a different way. And clearly their life is not a cookie cutter life. There's always something going on. Like Meghan said, twists and turns. And so I really value interviews like this where we actually get to the depth of the message and the moment for Meghan, where she is in her life right now. What is she working on? What's important to her? How is she faring? What are her relationships like? And the same for Harry too, when he grants interviews. But I'm really impressed with how vulnerable and open she's being. And I do want to touch on something. I don't know if we've talked about this before. I can't recall, but something that I fail to really focus on that is really impressive to me is the amount of bravery it takes for Meghan to do stuff like this. I don't know that we've talked about it before, but I'm always really impressed and kind of taken aback by how much she trusts the universe, how much she trusts the moment. And of course, she trusts her fan base to take care of her in this way. But to know that people intentionally misconstrue everything you say and look for issues and look for fallacies and go above and beyond to really misrepresent you, to still be this vulnerable and courageous and open, it takes a great amount of bravery, but also it takes us a lot of belief in yourself. It takes a lot of that because I know I don't like talking to someone, just one person who's intentionally misunderstanding me. Have you ever talked to someone who's a contrarian? Everything you say, they have a but or rather, or they correct you. That's really annoying. It's like, okay, we could engage, but you don't have to be nitpicking me. That's one encounter that gets on my nerves. I can't imagine millions of people doing that to me. And I can't imagine those stories, those fallacies, those lies, those creations, those intentional miscommunications, then becoming headlines, then becoming YouTube videos, then becoming Twitter topics, then becoming threads. That's overwhelming. The amount of trust that she has and the amount of belief in herself that she has, I'm so impressed with her bravery, because again, I genuinely don't know where she pulls from to avoid just becoming introverted and reclusive. I don't know how she doesn't just, kind of go into hiding because of how much people obsess over harming her or hating her. So for her to still give interviews like this, for her to still give very, very honest answers, very introspective conversation and dialogue, for her to really give us that and expose herself to that extent, it says a lot. It certainly does reflect what she declared her chapter of joy. This is absolutely in line with that. And I'm glad to see that she is exercising that in all ways, on all levels. But I am just impressed with the amount of bravery and courage it takes to be this vulnerable. Anyway, let's even take Meghan out of this. Public figures and celebrities are not vulnerable anymore. They show us things on social media to satiate the feeling of feeling like we're involved or that we're in the know, but they don't tell us anything. And even when celebrities do tell us stuff, they often tell us things in a way that's just to sell something or to make us feel like we know them, but we don't, or to promote something, blah, blah, blah. Celebrities don't give interviews like this anymore. This is kind of a rarity. I grew up in a time where Ebony and Essence and The Source and a Vibe interviews are probably my favorite. I remember growing up and my mom's subscriptions would come to the house and me and my sister would be sitting there thumbing through them with our little Reese's packets, reading all the interviews we probably shouldn't have been reading, but we read celebrity interviews and we got that conversation. But I think that's also a big part of why I have the standards that I have in my mind for journalism, because I remember experiencing real journalism. And I think we're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty of why my tolerance for clickbait and why my tolerance for tabloid trash is what it is. Because I actually kind of hate it more than most people. I feel like we as the squatties actually hate it more than most people because we've seen the very real harm that it can do. And we've looked at it with a very different lens. But I also grew up seeing the opposite of that. I grew up seeing interviews that properly represented the person, that were intentional and that asked good questions, and people were made to feel comfortable to open up and share. This is such a wonderful callback to such a simpler but more authentic time. I've called Meghan an innovator many times, but let us not miss moments like this where her innovation because it's so subtle, it might be overlooked. But by granting interviews like this and having them conducted in this way, and then delivering the way that she did, it certainly sets a tone and sends a message that if you do things decently and in order in the right way, and you do things without the intent to harm, but you uphold the standards of your industry, media, journalism, etc., these are the kinds of moments that you can have. These are the kinds of credits that you can have to your name as a professional in journalism. It also kind of negates that whole hearing Meghan hate the media thing. They don't hate the media. They hold it accountable and they expect it to be responsible. I have the same feeling about the media, and I don't hate the media. Hell, I'm part of social media. I want to apply that same logic to other industries. I don't hate my doctor for expecting my doctor to uphold his oath and to uphold HIPAA requirements. That doesn't mean I hate my doctor because I say I expect you to fulfill the duties of your job and to fulfill the promises of your oath to the fullest and with good intention. That doesn't mean I hate doctors for going there and expecting them to do what they were hired to do and what they went to school to do and what they agreed to do and took an oath to do. And so I think when you look at it from that lens, you realize why people, one, get so frustrated with the tabloid media, but two, recognize how much harm has been caused. And so in this moment, I want us to take a moment to, one, appreciate the interview because it was just a good interview. But also, this is one of those instances that I was discussing about Meghan's subtle innovation, where turning the tide in a very subtle way, you might forget where it began. We don't get interviews like this. And same with the Variety and the Cut interview. I talked about those at that time too. When you do things in the right way, look at what you can achieve and look at what you can get. Erin Hill is now the person who can say, I wrote this exclusive article about Meghan's exclusive interview with my publication. And I can guarantee that the reporter, that the writers, that the journalists, everyone who is involved with this will walk away with a much better career for having had this opportunity and executing so well. And I hope that's a message to the rest of the industry. I just wanted to take a super short break to say, if you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you are interested, feel free to participate in the live chat going on now, or feel free to leave a comment if you do not wish to engage in the live chat. Once again, I know I do this all the time. I'm enjoying a channel, I'm enjoying the video, I'm just having a great time, and I completely forget to hit subscribe. So please don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to comment if you wish, and please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button so that the algorithm on YouTube knows that you like my content. Now, let's get back to the show. This was an excellent interview. People Magazine, Aaron Hill, everyone who was involved hit it out of the park. These still frames and these photos are also very beautiful. And it just makes me so excited for tomorrow when we get to watch With Love, Meghan on Netflix. Now, again, tomorrow we will be having a live stream for a first impressions conversation regarding With Love, Meghan, where we're going to talk about what we've seen so far. I'm under no delusion that you guys are going to watch the entire thing because most of you have jobs and you probably won't have that kind of time, but we're going to talk about what we did get a chance to watch and just our discussion around it will just be fun, positive energy, and what we think from that point forward. And then the following day, Wednesday, we will have a full recap and review, but we're going to do that in the format of a live discussion. Now, I have recapped several shows, books, movies, documentaries regarding the Sussexes, as well as their own projects that they've put out, but I've never done it live. So this is the first time I'm doing a full recap and review with an audience as we interact in real time. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about both live streams. I hope you guys enjoy the participation in that, but also I'm just really excited about With Love, Meghan, and everything that's coming thereafter, the product line, the new show with Limonada. Now, I'm really curious because that specifically said new show. I don't know if it was intended to say new season, but this is People Magazine. They don't make mistakes like that. So I think we're getting a new podcast or a new audio show of some kind. But I am also still waiting on season 2 of Archetypes. And we were told that a season 2 or another season of Archetypes would be coming. So I don't know when they say new show, I don't know if they just mean a new season of Archetypes or if there's a whole nother show coming. Again, these are the things that make it exciting because I don't know, and we won't know until everything is out. So this is why I love really good rollouts. I'm looking forward to With Love, Meghan tomorrow. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. And then I'm also excited to recap it with you guys. We are in for a really, really, really fun week. I'm also really excited of everything else to come from the Sussexes. They are feeding us well in 2025. I know that's right. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please feel free to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up button. Please don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share so that more people can find us. And please don't forget to light up the live chat or the comment section if you're watching on replay. Thank y'all so much for watching. There's another video coming later tonight. I made 2 videos today. I don't know why. I just did. I hope you guys enjoy both. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.